Hopefully this one's working too. It is, isn't it? Yes. All right. My name is Mike Duffy. I'm the director of the Lane Center for Catholic Studies and Social Thought here at USF. And I welcome you all here. We're delighted to see all of you here on a rainy afternoon. And hopefully we'll have an engaging and insightful dialogue here. Just before I introduce our speakers, though, I want to just point out a few upcoming Lane Center events. On the table out here in the foyer, there's a postcard here of our upcoming events. Next week, our very next event is next week, Monday. USF and the Franciscan Friars of the Atonement are sponsoring collaboratively the 30th annual Paul Watson Lecture Series. And this year we have Dr. Elsa Temez from Costa Rica, who will be speaking on ecumenism. So that is happening next Monday night, right here in this same room at 6 p.m. And there's information on this card. Then also starting next week is the university is sponsoring the Human Rights Film Festival, which the Lane Center is the sponsor of. On this card is a website where you can look at the films that are going to be shown and the times and whatnot. So that's on this card. And then 2 weeks from now, the university has the Global Women's Rights Forum. And the Lane Center will be hosting the event on Wednesday evening on fundamentalism, and particularly the impact of fundamentalism on women around the world. So it's a great week of events. The Lane Center is just hosting those events on Wednesday, so you could, again, find more of that information on here. And then on Monday, March 9th, James Nikoloff, who's currently a fellow at Santa Clara University, will be here to speak about the intrinsically disordered, the role of the despised in establishing the holiness of the church. Again, all that information is on this, along with other information about the Lane Center. You can just go to our website and you can find out that information. And then just one final thing, looking ahead to the summer, we're very excited that we have Peggy Steinfels, formerly the editor of Commonweal, and currently she is the director of the Center for Religion and Culture at Fordham University. She will be here during the month of July for 3 lectures, one each week for 3 weeks. And we're very excited to hear what she's working on and what she's writing about. And so we welcome you all to come back in July, if not before, of course, to see those. And her dates and more of that information will be appearing on our website as we confirm all of those things. So also on the table out here, if you would like to be on our mailing list, we have a list there where you can sign up and get information about what we're up to. And also just to say that the events of the Lane Center are made available by generous support from people like yourselves. So if you'd like to become a supporter of the Lane Center, there's also envelopes out there or the sign up for more information about that sort of support as well. So this afternoon, we're delighted to have 2 distinguished speakers with us. We're happy to host today Judge John Noonan, Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the 9th Circuit here in San Francisco, a lecturer and author of numerous articles and books, most recently, The Luster of Our Country, The American Experience of Religious Freedom, and A Church That Can and Cannot Change. Judge Noonan is also a former trustee of the university, and we're delighted that he's agreed to be with us tonight and to speak about this most recent book, A Church That Can and Cannot Change. Interviewing and engaging in dialogue with Judge Noonan is Monsignor Bob McElroy, who is currently the Lo Schiavo Chair, which is housed in the Lane Center. Monsignor McElroy is also the pastor at St. Gregory's Parish in San Mateo. He brings a rich academic background in international relations and Catholic moral theology, as well as a great depth of pastoral experience here in the Archdiocese of San Francisco. So we're delighted to have both of you here. We welcome you both, and we look forward to a very insightful conversation. Please welcome Judge Noonan and Monsignor McElroy.
I will be more listener than speaker today because I have more to learn. Justice Noonan, you've given us a magnificent source of reflection on the question of doctrinal development in the church in your book on how the church can and cannot change. And appropriately, you have done so using the case method. And because it really brings us to confront this question of doctrinal change, not merely in a theoretical way, but in the lived experience of the church. And in starting out in your reflections, you come back to Newman, as all of us seem to do as we talk about doctrinal development, and remark that Newman, unlike some previous authors, did not believe that change in doctrine in the church was merely making explicit which had been implicit, but rather representing a true organic development. Why do you and so many others point to Newman? What is his contribution that is lasting on the question of doctrinal change in the church?
Well, I think Noonan was really the first writer to explicitly set out a theory of development. You can go way back to Vincent of Lorenz, who was often quoted that what is believed everywhere by everyone can never be changed. And then immediately after that passage, which is quoted on behalf of no development, Vincent of Lorenz went on to say, does that mean there will be no development in the Church of God? God forbid. And he goes on to say that this is the way things are, but he doesn't have an elaborate theory. Now, John Henry Newman, writing, I believe, at the point where he was just moving from the Church of England to the Church, has a theory. Quite curiously, he never applied it to morals. He was very nervous about morals. And when he was asked about slavery by someone in the southern part of the United States, he was extremely cautious. But it was as though morals was a different category that he just didn't want to touch. But he did have the idea of organic development of some of the great themes of faith.
When you move through your book, you take the position that the church teaches in a variety of ways, not merely by what it articulates in explicit teachings, but rather by its liturgy, by the way it lives, by the way it acts, and that thus when one looks at the question of what has the church taught on key questions, the questions you've read in your book of slavery or usury or religious freedom, you say we need to look at a wider spectrum of life in the church. When you were articulating that, how would you say the church teaches? Where would you point to the authority of the church in its various elements of the lived experience that's so important to what you speak to in your book and make your argument about?
Well, I would take again, I believe very much in looking at what's happened and taking it really example by example. But I think take slavery, but there's no question but slavery as an institution went uncriticized for centuries by the church. But against that is something like ex-slaves and actual slaves becoming saints.